Hey.
Bobby Joe Ellis.
Yes, sir.
About time we come out here again. We haven't seen you in a while.
Been a while, hasn't it?
Beautiful fall garden you've got going here.
Well, thank you.
You know, most people, not most people, but your casual gardener thinks that in the spring you start your garden and about now you're done.
No.
Not Bobby Joe.
No.
When do you start thinking about planting your fall garden?
Fall garden, I'll usually put it about the second week in August.
Second week in August. Now, what are you going to plant?
Broccoli, cauliflower, and cabbage.
Now, I'm looking right here at some of the prettiest broccoli that I have seen in a long time. Beautiful cabbage, and they're not bitten up like the spring cabbages.
Now, that's the reason I put out the stuff in the late fall,
Now,
where it's maybe eat up.
Again, we're going to refer now to a segment that we did not long ago, the old-fashioned way to store your cabbage. You don't dig a hole right here. That was interesting in itself. If you want to refer back to that, that's how you store it for winter. But this over here, cauliflower coming on, you still got a few tomatoes too.
Yeah, that's still got tomatoes. And the cauliflower hadn't started producing yet. It's about 2 weeks behind the others.
You introduced me to the poodoo bucket.
Okay.
and we've got alpaca and we've got sheep. And you talk about taking that manure, put it in your rain bucket, and you get a pretty potent mixture of poodoo.
After about 7 days, you can start using it.
Now you
water well.
Have been using chicken.
Right.
I bet that smells good in the hot summertime.
No.
Well, run Lois out of here.
And I may go back to the cow or something else after this year.
Just a little ripe is what you're saying?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But you say about every 3 weeks you'll come over here and pour some of that around the base.
Yeah, so around the base of it, yeah.
So instead of 10-10-10, use chicken.
Right.
I like where you're going with that.
It's cheaper.
It's cheaper.
Yeah.
It may not smell as good. You may want it downwind,
No wind.
not downwind from your house. But beautiful broccoli, beautiful cabbage, beautiful. Looks like you might have some greens over there too.
Yeah, and the greens on the other end of this. We have froze a lot of greens in the last 2 or 3 days.
Freeze is the operative word for today, because I know Lois is in there taking some of this fresh cabbage, and she's going to make
freezer slaw.
That's an old-fashioned thing. You know what? What do you like your freezer slaw? How do you like to eat it?
Well, we usually take the cookouts and put it on, kind of adds to your hamburgers and hot dogs and things like that when you're cooking out.
So basically, she takes this, puts it in a small container, enough for a get-together.
Yeah, right.
And boom, she takes it to the cabin in the woods, and
right.
y'all are chowing down.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, let's go inside and see what Lois is doing.
Okay, let's go.
We're back in Lois's kitchen. I always love coming to your kitchen because it always smells interesting. There's always good stuff. Bobby and I were wandering around the garden, and he was showing me his greens. And so this is like the bonus part of today's. This is like the extra. These are greens.
Right.
And they're ready to go. This is like a serving enough for, what, 4 people?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Tell me how you do that.
Well, when we bring in lots of them to freeze, we wash them to begin with.
Get the critters off.
All right, get the critters off.
Now you know they boil down to nothing. So he just keeps adding it and adding it and adding it until he gets a full container. Then you boil it down for a couple hours.
And then we boil them for a couple of hours until they're good and tender. And then, of course, they have to cool. And then we bring them back in and drain them completely.
Put it in quart containers. And you got that right there.
That's right.
And you said a little canola oil and salt and you're good to go.
A little canola oil and salt is what I put in them. And
you know what
we don't ever have any to throw away. What do you put in them?
bacon grease and onions, and then a little more bacon grease.
Well, I may have to try that someday.
Just a little bit.
I'm sure that's what my mother and my grandmother did.
Oh, yeah,
but
Lord.
I have a cardiac patient
Yeah,
husband,
yeah.
and they taught me how to cook with canola oil, and that's what I've done since '89.
You do what they tell you to do.
That's right.
Because I'll probably have to go to the canola oil here for long because all the stuff I've been eating.
Well, they told him not to eat eggs more than 2 a week. He eats 2 every morning and has for a long, long time. So
Hey, man's got to do what a man's got to do.
that's right.
But the real reason we're here today, that was the bonus right there. That was a good bonus thing too, is freezer slaw. That's an old-fashioned thing.
We're into that now that the cabbage is fresh in the fall garden. So we've been making some of that today and got a little more to make.
And you know what I really like about this? First of all, you got all fresh vegetables to put in this.
It's very easy and doesn't have a lot of different things in it.
Now, how long have you been doing the freezer slaw?
Oh, we've been doing freezer slaw ever since we've been raising a fall garden. We make our sauerkraut in the spring, and then we do the freezer slaw in the fall.
So, what, 20 years, 30 years?
No, not that long. Maybe 10.
10 years? What turns you on to this?
Well, of course, we really like coleslaw, and I just saw some recipes, and I thought, well, I'll give it a try, and it was really a big thing.
Usually one bucket, do you? Or sometimes you have to take 2?
Well, usually I just take 1, and if I take 2, then we have a son-in-law who loves to take that leftover home with him, so.
Okay, let's talk about how you make this. It sounds fairly simple, but I've already tasted it. I already snuck in there, and it's absolutely beautiful taste and leaves a great aftertaste in your mouth. What do you do to make this?
Well, you just bring in the fresh vegetable from the garden. I have 3 vegetables in it, a carrot, a green pepper, and a head of cabbage.
So if you're doing 20 of these or 1 of these, that's your basic recipe.
That's my basic
recipe. 1
recipe.
carrot to 1 pepper per head of cabbage.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then there's a dressing that you put together and bring it to a boil. And then you let it cool to lukewarm before you add all your vegetables into it. And
What is that now? What's your...
it is 2 cups of sugar, 1 cup of vinegar, a 1/4 cup of water, a teaspoon of salt, and a teaspoon of celery seed.
Now, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get myself right out of the way. I'm going to watch you make this. I'll talk to you from over there. I'm
Okay.
taking this with me. Don't
All right.
We're just talking. That smells fresh. Everything about it smells. I already know what it tastes like because I already had some, but I want some more. So once again, that's not to confuse. You let that get room temperature before you pour your stuff in because you don't want to cook your vegetables.
Right.
That way you get that fresh taste when you open this up. Oh wow, that is most excellent right there. Oh, thank you again.
Your favorite?
People love you, Lois.
Oh, well, very good.
They love your stuff, and we do too, so thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.